really great turnout already. So I am thrilled to get to start us, but the majority of the time today will be dedicated to hearing from some really inspiring speakers. And so I am Prudence by their car, and I'm honored to be here on behalf of the American Bar Association Center on Children in the Law to welcome you to this webinar in partnership with Plummer Youth Promise and the amazing Chauncey Strong. As we mentioned, go ahead and thank you for those who are putting in where you're from. It's always great to see sort of who's joining us and to get a little bit of a sense of who the many participants are on the call. And throughout the webinar today, if you have questions that you would like, we may not hit all of the questions before the end of the webinar, but we are keeping track of them, and we'll try to at least address 1 or 2 questions at the end of the webinar. So please do put questions into the Q&A, and my colleague Beverly Schulterbrandt will be channeling those toward the speakers at the end of the session. And then finally, I just want to say, a huge plug for the fact that we are gearing up for June to be National Reunification Month. And so we have a lot of things underway, and we're especially appreciative to all of the speakers who are joining us here today to help plant the seeds for launching an amazing Reunification Month this year in June. We celebrate Reunification Month to really hit 3 main goals, and I know that we're going to hit those in the webinar today. The first is to celebrate the accomplishments of parents who reach reunification with their kids as the primary goal in a child welfare case. And there are so many parents out there to celebrate, and we're really honored to have a chance to do that today in particular. The second main goal is to highlight the vital role of community partners in supporting reunification, and we're going to hear a lot about that today as well. And then the third goal, which flips back to all of you in the audience, is to inspire others, parents and family members and community partners, to think about and reflect on your own roles in facilitating and supporting reunification. So we look forward to hearing, to hitting on all of those goals today. And without further ado, I want to pass it to the amazing Chauncey Strong, who has been partnering with the ABA for many years on lifting up the importance of reunification and on really, really putting together an amazing coordinated event, series of events every June, and now even before June, to get ready for the importance of Reunification Month. Thank you, Chauncey.
Thank you so much, Prudence. I appreciate it. Kate, if you want to go ahead and click, we'll get to the next slide. Thank you all so very much for being here and being a part of this. I love technology. First of all, I love that we got almost 300 people in the room to talk about reunification, and my text is blowing up. People are saying, I see you on here, Chauncey, and hello to all my friends and colleagues. And so thank you all so much. It's really good to be here with you all today. I'm excited to talk about reunification. Those of you all who know me know that I'm dealing with permanency options for all of our children, all permanency options, not just focus on 1 or 2, but I love that we get this time to focus on reunification, and I don't think we do it enough. So if you click the next slide, I just want to tell you a little bit about, again, I'm Chauncey Strong. I'm a consultant with child welfare, been around the field for 30 years. I jokingly say when I do that, I keep a little Just for Men hair coloring in so the gray doesn't show, but I've been around for a very long time doing this work. I have my own personal experience in the child welfare system, and I was adopted out of foster care. So when we think about why we celebrate unification, people say, well, wasn't you adopted out of foster care? Like you didn't even reunify. I actually did go back and reconnect with my family on my own, but I said, I'm really about permanency options that meet the best interests of all the children we have in care. And if we're not careful and we only focus on 1 or 2 and not all of them, then we're going to miss some young people along the way. And reunification is the first goal. And so absolutely, we ought to celebrate and focus on that as well. So we really celebrate reunification, really to acknowledge the people and the efforts made across the country, really to help young people in the child welfare system that's reunified. As Prudence has said, several different things we want to do. One, we want to celebrate. We want to celebrate that goal of being able to return home, which is the first goal. We all know foster care should be temporary, and that the first goal of the majority of children in care is actually reunification. And I don't know if you all know this, it's actually the most achieved goal. Actually, more kids go home. And so why would we not want to celebrate that? Why would we not want to educate people around in terms of best practices around that as well? You see our theme on the slide here. So we believe in the resiliency and the strength of families. And with that, one of the things I think about is that we believe that our families are strong. We believe that they are resilient. We believe in the power of families and the power of families that can come back together and reunite. And then the people who work with those families to help make that happen. So I love that we have this wonderful theme, this very strong theme about Reunification Month. If you go to the next click here, one of the things, if you all have been familiar with what we've been doing for a number of years, is that we've done the Reunification Heroes. And with that, we try to make sure that we uplift those people who are making an impact and supporting reunification, starting with the families themselves. If we don't start there, we're starting on the wrong foot, right? We want to make sure that we are uplifting those families. And so when we look at heroes, we want to look at the families. We want to look at those with lived experience. We want to look at the social work. We want to look at the judges. We want to look at the CASA. We want to look at court attorney, everybody involved. My pastor used to say, Lottie Dottie and everybody. Whoever is doing this work around unification, we would love for you all, if you are interested in nominating them as a hero, we will have on the website soon a place where you can go ahead and nominate unification heroes. And again, if you go on the website now, though, you can actually see some of the past heroes as well. So we would love to kick this off nicely in 2023 by looking at our unification heroes. The other thing we want you all to do, and we're going to make sure we put in chat, and at the end of this, we want to know what you're doing. And when I say we, this partnership with ABA has been outstanding. It has been outstanding. 15 years ago, a little bit, maybe a little bit less than that, I discovered that they were doing reunification. I knocked on the door and said, hey, can I help with this in any kind of way? And they let me in, and I haven't stopped ever since. The partnership that we have with you is just wonderful. And I appreciate it so much, Candace and Beverly. I appreciate you all. And what we want to do with I believe, is that share information, share resources on the website. We want to make sure that we know what's happening across the country around unification. So if you have a celebration that you're putting on and you want people to know about it, not that even they're going to come, but it'd be nice to know that things like this are happening. Put it on the website. Send it to us and we'll make sure it gets onto the website. If you're doing a training around reunification, a webinar, please let us know. I would love to know proclamations. We have some state and local agencies that are doing agencies that are doing proclamations to declare that this is official, that June is a reunification month. And so I want to share that as well. And then any resources, best practices, right? I'm really, really big on, as a child welfare social worker, that I want to know what's the best things that we can do as far as reunification is concerned. So at the end, we'll put it in chat, and we'll also have it at the end. You'll be able to send information to Beverly and myself about what you all are doing, and then you'll be on my email list. And once I have you on my email list, I don't let go. It's about 700 people on my email list that I send out around reunification, and I just want to keep you all informed about what we're doing. In my last 2 minutes, if you click the next slide, I'm excited. I'm so excited to be here to talk with you all and to introduce our speakers and facilitators for our today's webinar, which is with Plummer Youth Promise. Again, I've been fortunate and so pleased to have a relationship with them for many years, and some great people working there, and had a chance to do some training with them. And when we talked about we wanted to do unification, had just finished working on something with them around unification, I thought, who better to kick us off for a unification month than Plummer Youth Promise? And so I just want to take a few minutes and introduce our who Plummer Youth Promise is, if you don't know, and then there will be a place for you to click on if you go into their website, and then even our presenters for today. So I'm just going to go ahead and just introduce Plummer Youth Promise. At Plummer, they believe in deeply engaging youth and families as experts in their own lives, honoring existing attachments, and working in partnership to ensure safe and enduring relationships. They have direct services for foster family support and strategic consulting, which operationalize the vision into the best frontline practice, which you'll hear about as we talk about reunification. I'm so excited to introduce our facilitators. And so we have one is Kate Moon. Kate is a licensed social worker providing training and coaching and consulting services as part of Plummer permanency practice leadership team. And then in addition, she provides intensive permanency services for the youth and families. Kate is also a transracial adoptive parent and a former kinship parent. She believes that the families are the solution and empowering youth and their family throughout meaningful partnership. So that's great. Great to have you here, Kate. And then we have Jocelyn Valentin. And Jocelyn is a youth permanency worker for the intensive foster care program at Plummer. She's celebrating 2 years on April the 12th of being with Plummer, and she's passionate about using her skills to partner with youth and families to help them succeed and navigate the child welfare system. So with that being said, I'm so glad to have you all here. Thank you so much, everybody that's attending, and we're looking forward to a great webinar. Kate, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Chauncey. Really excited to be here today. As you mentioned, Reunification Month is really a time to honor and recognize the hard work and dedication of families who have been separated and are working towards reunification. It's a time to celebrate the power of family and the resilience of those who have faced incredible challenges in their work towards reunification. At Plummer Youth Promise, we know that authentically partnering with families plays a critical role in the reunification process. We recognize that children thrive when they are able to maintain strong connections with their families. And we know that a meaningful partnership with youth and their families can lead to successful reunification outcomes. Plummer's youth-guided family-driven teaming model is an approach to child welfare services that really emphasizes the involvement and the leadership of youth and families in the decision-making process. This collaborative process of shared decision-making between the child welfare agency, the young person, their families, and other stakeholders, including natural supports such as extended family members, educators, mental health providers, and community organizations, can create a team of supports around a family that will be there long after our involvement with the child welfare system ends. The resulting team works together to accurately assess the needs of the young person and their family, identify strengths and resources, and develop a plan of action that meets their needs and goals. This model is based on several key principles, including accurate assessment of a family's strengths and needs, clarity of expectations, active concurrent planning, shared parenting, which you're going to hear a lot about today, time, building informal support networks, and always embracing cultural humility. At Plummer, we really view families as the solution, not the problem. However, we know that achieving meaningful family engagement can be really challenging, and there are many barriers that can prevent families from fully participating. Our panel today will explore some of those challenges and provide insights into best practices for effectively partnering with families in the reunification process. As you listen to our amazing panelists today, you're going to hear some of these practice skills and tools that we use woven into their experiences. So now I'm going to turn it over to Jocelyn Valentin, and she is going to kick off our panel.
Thank you, Kate. Hi, everyone. I just want to say I am grateful for this opportunity. I'm honored to work for Plummer Youth Promise, and I'm going to begin. So it has been amazing to grow and develop my skills through Plummer's intervention model of permanency, preparedness, and community. My role as a youth permanency worker is humbling. I truly believe that Plummer's model is setting the stage for the work in the child welfare system. And as I mentioned before, it is an honor to be part of this work, which is uplifting parents, working through a clinical lens, and the teaming process. I will now be welcoming Glenys and Angel Mendez. With over 10 years of foster care experience, Glenys and Angel are seasoned foster care parents who foster because they aim to unite families, encourage parents, and approach the system with love and care. In 4 months, Angel and Glenys will be celebrating their 3rd year anniversary in the intensive foster care program for Plummer Youth Promise. Thank you for your endless commitment and dedication to all of your families. I am now very excited to introduce Erika Gonzalez. Erika is currently working as a recovery coach and finds it very rewarding. But when she's not on the clock, she is caring for her 5 beautiful children, 17-month twins, 3 and 5-year-old boys, and an 11-year-old girl. In 2021, Erika's children were removed by DCF and then placed into Plummer's intensive foster care home. Erika successfully completed a residential program for substance abuse and reunified with her children in 1 year. And she has done an incredible job of parenting all 5 of her children since reunification. On April 8th, Erika celebrated her 2nd year of sobriety. Erika's education around addiction while in treatment was life-changing for her. And today, she shares her own experiences and knowledge in her work to help others. Yes, definitely want to take a moment.
You see the love that she's getting? All kind of love for you, Erika.
Thank you, everyone. That's beautiful. So there's power in bringing voices of youth and family to the table. When this does happen, or when youth and families are asked, what is your goal? What are your worries? What are your wishes? What are your concerns? Those questions provide the opportunity for the youth and family to feel heard and seen. As Kate said so well, this process is a collaborative partnership, and the most important partners are the youth, are the family, and those natural supports. Hearing from Kate on the importance of reunification, I would like to dive in now with our panelists and hear how that all plays out in the real world. I would like to start this off by asking Erika our first question. Erika, what was it like to meet Glenys and Angel, getting to know each other, to parent the children, and what was easy during this process? What went well?
Thank you, everyone. So at first, obviously, I felt intimidated. I was worried about judgment. I didn't know what their plan really was. Did they want to give me back my kids? Did they want to help me? Were they against me? So it was really nerve-wracking at first. But from the very first Zoom, because of COVID, our first meeting was through Zoom, and just being able to meet them through Zoom and seeing how supportive they were of me, and how happy my kids were, and the fact to know that my boys were together in this beautiful home with this wonderful family, really put my mind at ease. It really helped me to feel supported by Angel and Glenys. They allowed me to give me a tour of their house on the Zoom video, and I could see how well they were taken care of, how happy they were with their own bedrooms. And I could really see the love that my boys had developed in such a short period of time for Glenys and Angel, which reassured me that they were treating my kids very well. So once, I got, to meet them and see how happy my boys were and how clean and well taken care of they were, from there, everything was just a whole lot easier, and my mind was at ease.
Thank you, Erika, for sharing. That is just so powerful. Hearing my voice echo a little bit. Okay now. As I was saying, that is just so powerful to hear how you were able to see the home, that you got a tour, and that made you, that provided you peace and comfort in knowing where your babies were, and being able to speak with Glenys and Angel and have your son have a virtual tour and say, Mommy, I sleep here, and this is where we eat, and this is where we play. So I really appreciate those words. And I really hear you on how powerful that made you feel, and the sense of ease that brought to you as their mother. I'm going to now ask Glenys and Angel the same question. What was it like to meet Erika, getting to know her, to parent the children? What was easy during this process, and what went well?
Oh, you're on mute, Glenys. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Glenys Mendez. My husband, Angel Mendez. We've been fostering for around 10 years, 7 years at another agency, almost 3 years at Plummer Youth Promise. And we are really happy of doing what we do, trying to help all these kids that really need a home. They need to be taken care of. They need a nurtured home. And when we met Erika, like she said, the first time was through Zoom. When Kate at the beginning asked me, I'm like, my mind is in blank. I completely forgot about the virus and that we met through Zoom. And then when Erika mentioned it, then I remember. And at the beginning was a little, I was a little hectic because I didn't know how Erika was gonna react with us. But Jocelyn came and it was like the intermediator between Erika and us. And if we have a concern, she communicated with Erika, vice versa. If Erika had a concern, she communicated with Jocelyn. And the transition was really smoothly through the time, to the point that every time that Erika and me, we saw each other, we had to hug. No matter what, we had to hug. It didn't matter if we were going through COVID or not. But yeah, the experience with Erika in particularly, it was awesome.
Thank you, Glenys, for sharing that. And I made note of how you described, the ongoing communication and how important that is, especially, being a bridge. I was able to speak to you and Erika and help those conversations, but also want to just highlight that you gave each other hugs and that you embraced each other. And I think that just really demonstrates how natural and how child-centered the approach was, and the relationship was going forward after that. So that's really beautiful. I'm glad that you guys were able to embrace, able to have natural relationships, and that you were comfortable with her, vice versa. Thank you. So I also want to now just discuss, because I love how everything went so well, but I do want to reflect, were there any moments that felt challenging in the process? Were there any moments that felt hard? And that happens in any process, but I just want to begin with Erika on that question. What was hard?
So because it was in the pandemic, constantly, I was in a residence program at the time. They had their own strict rules around the pandemic, also following, the state guidelines. So quarantine was a huge issue when it came to visits, when it came to reunification plan. If the were exposed, they needed to be quarantined, or somebody in our program and we got shut down. So that was a huge barrier during our reunification. But Glenys, Angel, as well as you, Jocelyn, the DCF workers, and myself in the program, we all made sure that we all stayed, within our plans, and tried, if we did miss a visit, then, we would do a Zoom. So at least we're still having the consistency of the kids seeing me, being able to speak to them. So it was really hard with the pandemic, and obviously just not being able to have that physical contact. Seeing them through Zoom and talking to them is great, but we see them once a week for an hour. You want to hug your child, you want to feel their touch and give them a kiss, and it was really hard not being able to do that.
Thank you, Erika. No, you bring a great point in during those COVID restrictions, and when there was a canceled visit or inconsistency because of COVID, not being able to give them those hugs, see them physically, and doing it virtually, that is an experience in itself. And like you said, it was challenging and difficult to just make that shift, go to virtual. And how old were they, Erika, at the time? Can you remind us?
Yeah, so it was only 2, and our IDs was 4. 3 turning 4 and Azel was about 1.5 turning 2. So they were very little, which brings up another point. They began to call Glenys Mommy Glenys very quickly, which was really hard for me as well as a mom and a single mom at that. Most of the time was, you know, those are my babies. And I became a little defensive, like, mom bear, those are my babies. They're calling somebody else mommy. So it was really hard for me to swallow at first. It was very heartbreaking. But as I got to get to know Glenys and see the connection she had with my kids and the love and support that she was giving to them, and reminding myself of their age, how little they were, and they're now living, you know, with this woman full time and seeing me once a week for an hour, it got a lot easier to hear. We still call her Mama Glenys today. So it was challenging to hear at first, but I am very grateful, and I believe my kids will always look at her as a second mom.
Thank you, Erika. Well, those are points that were definitely challenging, difficult, and hard. And turning to Glenys and Angel now, during that process, can you guys explain what was difficult and challenging, and what were the hard moments as well?
I'd like to talk about this right now. Thank you, everybody, for connecting with this webinar. I've been an observer in this process, so just watching how Glenn is going to be dealing with the kids. In my case, I'm just a supportive person, and also knowing that these kids are going to be missing the real family. So we try to create an environment where honesty and integrity is present, because we want the system to be on the top, and we know people outside, maybe they don't understand what we do. So what we try is to create that kind of environment, and it's difficult sometimes to let the parents know that we are just rooting for them. So just trying to create that kind of environment where they know that we are for them. It is the part that is more difficult. Most of the time what I do, I try to observe how Glenn is gonna be dealing. So I'm just driving, giving the kid, you know, like protection, etc. And also just observing the honesty from our part, that we are gonna be just dealing with the situation, and also being an advisor for them, how to cooperate with the system based on our experience. So this is what I enjoy about this process, because having reunification, it is like getting a new family, right, Erika? They were passed by 2 months ago, February 21, I think so, and I have a beautiful picture of the whole family. For me, that's amazing. My phone is full of pictures of this kid and family, and it is amazing. So for me, difficulty in this process, I didn't see anyone. Yes, because of the COVID, I was aware of cross-contamination, because we had another beautiful girl here, Bailey, so young, and we didn't want to have like any kind of a problem with the pandemic. So that was the only thing that we had to be on top of that, and maybe sometimes canceling some meeting because something happened, and try to reduce the anxiety in Erika, because I know that she was missing her kid. So that was the kind of thing that I can resume in this process.
Thank you, Angel. And like you said, I also just want to highlight, you didn't just do the driving, you were there to support not just Glenys, but Erika, and you're definitely part of the teaming process. So I just really wanted to highlight your role as well. Glenys, I just wanted to hear if you had any thoughts or to add as well to this in the process of what was hard, and if there were any challenging moments as well.
Yeah, it is always for me a challenge to gain the parent trust, because at the beginning they kind of see us like their enemies. Maybe they think that we are against them, that we are judgmental. So we always try to give the parents that assurance that we are just taking care of their kids until the parent themselves get themselves together and they can have their kids back. It's not that we want to keep their kids. We are just taking care of them, making sure we comply with all their needs. Like with Erika, like she mentioned it, we just loved the way that she was so anxious at the beginning. And through our love and showing her that we were not judging her, we are not accusing her, we are not pointing fingers at her. We are trying just to take care of her boys until she get herself at the point that she was required to, and then the kids could go back to her. In the meantime, we were using sources to send her pictures, videos. I used to sing songs with the kids, even in Spanish, and send them to her. And that light up her day. She sometimes she was saying, "Oh my God, I was so depressed. You just light up my day." So those are the things that like help us to keep on doing this job too, because it is hard for the bio parents, but it is hard on our end too. And the worst thing that you can do is to have conflicts with the parents, because at the end we have their kids. The best thing that you can do is to have a beautiful relationship with parents. Sometimes there are parents that are difficult, but we try to manage, and we have people like you in the middle that if we cannot, fully reach out to that parent, so we have an intermediator that help us with the process.
Thank you, Glenys. I really enjoyed hearing you speak about the non-judgmental approach and being child-centered and having the same language and the same goal. And the goal was to reunify with mom. And as a team, you were on the same page. We all worked gearing towards reunification and what that looked like. And so, everyone not just only played their role, but really elevated each other because we really had to uplift each other. And like you said, you use this tool, I believe it's the Google Voice application, where you were able to send photos and send videos and send milestones of the children throughout their time with you in their home. And it really was able to uplift Erika and continue to be part of her boys' life. Even though she wasn't with them all the time, you still made her feel like she was part, still being there, even though physically she wasn't. So I really I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for technology. And I'm really grateful that, again, the teaming process, the collaboration, the ongoing communication was a strong effort with everybody. And it really demonstrates right now. And as the time has passed post-reunification, that we can even be here together speaking about this in real time. So thank you.
Erika, would you be able to share with us what practices that were used during the reunification process that were the most helpful to you?
So I think what really made our reunification process as smooth as it did, even with the pandemic, is just how well we all communicated with each other, the DCF worker, my program facilitators, Jocelyn, Glenys, and Angel. We all made sure that we're always on the same page, that we were all working together as a team. A lot of us, we all played our own roles. Like I would have the boys first or so they can see what the schedule was like at the program versus what the schedule like was at home. Going from a home with Glenys and Angel to now being part of a residential program where 14 other families, a bunch of other children, other moms. So I think all played a part as far as making sure that everything went as smoothly as possible for the boys. And we also communicated behaviors that may have been behaviors of resilience or whatever, and it ended up being just normal behaviors for my 2- and 4-year-old then. And I was able to communicate stuff like that with Glenys, and she was able to laugh about it and reassure me that the things my boys were doing, talking to themselves at night, playing in their diapers, something they did also at her house. So it kind of just relaxed me, okay, they're not fighting, against me. So just open lines of communication. I'm really paying attention to the boys and how they're reacting to the transition. I was worried they were gonna kind of, you know, how can I say this, like a little bit judgmental towards me, like, oh, my mom was taking me out of a beautiful home with my own room with, you know, my clients and Papi Angel took to this program with only mom, no dad, a bunch of other women, a bunch of other kids around, to complete chaos, really. So I was really worried how but they fell right in line, and they actually loved being in the program and having so many other children around and of environment. But definitely communication and working as a team, because if one of us fell out of line, it would have completely messed up the entire transition process.
Absolutely. So it sounds like that teaming process that was used, where everyone was brought together and on the same page and creating that reunification plan together, was really, really helpful to you. Jocelyn, could you just tell us really quickly a little bit about some of the tools that you used as you all went through and co-created this reunification plan?
Yes. So one of the tools I used was called A Day in the Life. So I did that separately for both of the boys. And I worked with Glenys, and literally hour by hour, what's a day in the life, Monday through Friday. And Glenys would laugh and be like, you want to know every little detail? And I said, yes, we have to be transparent, because when Erika, it's so important, like for Erika to know, like at 8 a.m., what was he doing at this time? Is it teeth brushing time? When was dinner time, lunch? When do they go down for a nap? How long are naps? And so sometimes we often jump over the small details, and those details can really make the difference. So I worked on that tool, A Day in the Life. And then we also did, we formatted a calendar. The team made a calendar for the reunification process and what that looked like. And that calendar is very detailed. It had the times of pickup, location, the day, and who was doing that, transportation and everything. So again, this was very collaborative. We worked together on what days and times worked best for everyone. And again, we had to do this in following COVID restrictions. So that was a barrier, it was a challenge. However, communication, like we're all highlighting and noting, was so strong with all of us, and that really made the difference.
Thank you. All right, so I think we're going to move to our next question. And we know that systems and program barriers and challenges happen along the way for everyone. And what were some of the barriers that came up as this team worked towards reunification, and how did you manage those?
So I can start with that, Kate. It's a great question. Throughout this process, we were definitely faced with a constant change of workers. I think the number we had within a year was anywhere from 3 to 6 workers. So that in itself was a very big barrier. The next challenge was getting the program to become flexible, to meet the child's needs, and Erika's as well, and implementing that smooth transition plan. Definitely those 3 stick out to me. And when we were coming close in the weeks toward the actual reunification, the COVID restrictions made it challenging, especially knowing the protocol for all the programs. So we have the program where Erika was residing at the time, the daycare program, and then also making sure everyone was feeling comfortable with their own health and safety, with their worries and their concerns. So those are what came to mind for me.
Absolutely. And Erika, it must have been incredibly difficult during that time with COVID affecting things. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and what helped you to find the motivation and the strength to overcome those?
So it's definitely hard with COVID. Like Jocelyn mentioned, getting the daycare on board with everything, getting my program rules on board with everything. DCF and Plummer were amazing with advocating for my family, for the foster family, for boys, for myself. But just being in the program alone, was hard. And, there was weeks, like I said, we were unable to see the boys, or maybe just through Zoom. And with, CF, like she said, I constantly had a new worker. There was staff, visits were canceled. Sometimes there wasn't enough time to get in Zoom. Seeing my kids that 1 hour every week is what really refueled my tank for me, to remind me why I was at the program, why I gave up so much of my independence to be there. And it's because I needed to be there. I needed to get myself better for my kids, to be able to be a good mom and a good person in the community. But while there, I learned so much about myself, about being a mom, about being a woman in recovery. I learned of addiction, and through all of that, I'm now able to help other people that are struggling with addiction or stay sober. Coach, and it's really rewarding. And I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for the program, if it wasn't for Jocelyn helping to advocate things for me and my kids. And definitely if it wasn't for Angel, like I could not be where I am today without their support.
I think I'm probably speaking for everyone when I say that we all just really admire the work that you've done, and it shows. Jocelyn, how did the teaming process that was used really help to overcome those barriers with the program? And, you have 10 different opinions. How did you get everyone on the same page?
So I think definitely when it comes to the teaming process and my role in being a bridge in communication was meeting with providers individually first. Meeting with them individually, having a conversation, having the target and the goal brought to the table, and just saying, this is the goal, how can we get there, and what are your concerns, and really building a relationship with all the providers. And then from there, I would then do joint conversations and bringing everyone together. And what that's called, it would be a large team meeting. And it helped get other professionals on board with the plan of reunification, and it helped eliminate barriers. And Plummer and the department really advocated together when there were barriers, especially during COVID, and with the program and advocating for what was best for Erika and the children.
Thank you, Jocelyn. And Erika, when we spoke earlier, it sounded like originally you had some concerns about the visitation schedule that the program was able to accommodate. And you worried that that wasn't really going to set your boys up for success as they returned home. Can you tell us how the teaming process made it possible to design a reunification plan that was child-centered and really focused on the needs of your kids?
Yeah, so the original plan that was put together, that my boys would spend every other weekend at the program with me, which is disconcerting. On the weekends, Saturdays we're able to go out for a certain number of hours, and we could go to the park, we can have all this fun. Sundays, we're locked in anywhere, we can't, we have to remain within the program. So they weren't going to be able to see what their life was going to be like during the week, what the schedule was like during the week, how their school day was going to go. We were going to transfer back to our schools. They would have had no idea. They would have just been thrown into this whole new schedule without having experienced it at all. They would, come in thinking it's a weekend and every day is going to be either a fun day or lockdown day. They wouldn't, have the experience of going back and forth to school. So between Plummer and my DCF workers working pretty much, telling the program that this was not acceptable. It was not going to benefit the children in any way. And they were respectful about it. The program did push a little bit, but they made it a point that what we're doing is best for my kids. And this program is designed for women children and women that are reunifying with children. So they, had to see the bigger picture of, just the weekends was not going to work. So we were able to come up with a better plan. The boys would come during the week, and they were transported to from the program by my DCF worker. It was amazing. Had a huge truck, so my boys loved it. that were picked up from Glenys from the daycare, so they would be able to see her. And then Jocelyn would transport them back to the program in the afternoon, where we would begin our evening routine program. You know, it's set up their time, set up times, set up times. And so we got to do that for an extended amount of time, and then went into the weekends. And you know, going into the weekends was a little rough. Like I said, we're able to go out on Saturdays. So here I am, a single mom, just getting used to having my twins on the program with me. And now I have my 2 boys as well. So I have 4 little ones that I now have to use public transportation with on a weekend. So that was a whole nother challenge.
You're outside.
Erika, I'm going to just suggest that you turn off your video for a minute so that the sound quality, so that we want to make sure that everyone can hear all of the amazing things that you're saying. And then I'm going to need you to unmute yourself. Too many buttons on these webinars. Glenys and Angel, could you tell us a little bit about how you were able to support Erika during that reunification time? It sounds like there was a lot of scheduling. There was a lot of arranging around the kids' needs. How did everybody stay on track?
Oh my goodness, let me tell you, Kate, the schedule was crazy. I was always texting Jocelyn, this is driving me crazy. Whose turn is today to pick up the kids, you or me? No, it's you, no, it's Ryan. I'm like, oh my gosh, even though I had the calendar, but it was chaotic. And like Erika said, the transition at the end was really difficult, not between Erika and us, but because of the programs. Either the daycare had it shut down because it was a COVID case. So Erika's program wouldn't take the kids because they had to, how do you say cuando se quedaban en la casa?
Lockdown.
When they were locked down that you couldn't go anywhere. I forgot the name. The same thing at the program. If someone confined, if someone was positive at Erika's program, the same thing, the kids couldn't go there. But then we all sat together, Jocelyn, Erika, and us through Zoom, and we become to this idea of having Zoom like Erika and us. We had enough trust that we didn't have to have Jocelyn or someone watching us. So we were having a blast. I used to take the laptop to the bedroom. Erika used to see the kids dancing, playing. So we tried to, you know, accommodate and make something fun out of the disaster we were going through.
I would like to add, when we have the kids, the first thing that we try to show the parents is the routine and the structure. So now they need to understand what they are missing and why the system took the kids. So it's a double way. So we are taking care of the kid, but at the same time, we are showing parents, so what is gonna be your responsibility? And Glenys is very strict about that. So I don't know how many times we have to go to Boston for a special test of the kid that we have, but we enjoy that. And at the same time, we need to emphasize, to highlight the importance of keeping the health of the whole system, because we know how people think about this. And this is an amazing part, because as a former teacher, after I took the MAP training for being a foster parent, I could relate how many kids were showing some kind of behavior when I was a teacher, and I didn't know that they were foster kids. So I understood the behavior of some of these kids, and now I can maybe add my experience from being a teacher to this foster, work that we are doing, and try to compensate and mitigate what the system is, trying to implement and cover.
Sounds like all of you did an amazing job working together. And, COVID might seem like an extreme barrier that we feel like we're not facing as often these days, but we know that programs and policies often don't offer support or encouragement or prioritize meaningful and customized family time and relationship building. And this is why we feel at Plummer that pulling together a team of professionals and natural supports is so important and can help customize and advocate each approach with the families that we work with. I want to thank all of you for participating today. Erika, you are amazing. Keep going. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your participation. And I think I've learned so much today, and I'm sure many other people have also. I do want to open it up for questions, so I'm going to turn it over to Beverly.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I want to add my thank you to Erika and to the Mendez for joining us today. I've been monitoring the questions. There's quite a few questions that come in. And so I want to highlight first and foremost, one of the first questions that came in was wanting to understand more about the training and support that the Mendez received in order to engage with Erika in the way that's been described. What was a part of their process in being able to do that?
So at Plummer, we do use a three-part model that is based on family search and engagement, youth-guided family-driven teaming, and then permanency readiness. And as we do that, from the very first day of a case, we collaborate with the with our state partners, and we collaborate with our foster parents, and most importantly, our parents. We bring them onto that team from day one. And so at Plummer, we really work hard to be the bridge of those relationships. You've heard Glenys and Angel say it's hard in the beginning. It's a little awkward, right? But I think when we are really there with excellent communication and information for people, and we have the facilitation skills to be that bridge in the beginning, it helps parents and foster parents learn how to safely work together, get to know each other, and really build a relationship that Glenys and Angel and Erika, you got together for pizza 2 weeks ago and haircuts.
Yes.
That is still going strong well over a year later. And that's a really beautiful thing.
And that's a perfect segue, because one of the other questions that we received kind of in combination was, does the relationship exist and continue? That was 2 weeks ago.
Two months ago. It
Was
wasn't-
2 months?
Yeah, February 21.
21st. Yeah. That was the answer to that question about the relationship continue after the reunification. What is it like for the kids when they return to their mother, Erika? And so that we wanted to know, does that relationship continue?
Yes, our relationship does continue. I still reach out to Glenys quite often. I send pictures all the time when they get haircuts. I let them our schedule to see if, whenever they're available, so we can get together like we did that day. We go over, we have pizza, the boys see their old rooms. Sometimes they get to see the new kids that are there that are in the old rooms. And like I've seen right now, my son came because he heard Angel's voice on the laptop, and he came running over from the room and had this huge smile. And he's like, "That's Angel." So they still have a huge love for Glenys and Angel, and so do I. I think they're stuck with us forever. But I love having them in our lives because Angel is just such an amazing male role model for boys. They do not have their father in their life. Their father is still in active addiction. So having Angel is just huge, a huge support for me, but mostly for my boys. To have that positive male role model and the love he shows them and the connection that they still have even after a year of being home is just a huge blessing for me and my kids.
Thank you. And along those lines too, folks wanted to know, Jocelyn, what is your title and kind of your role? How did you facilitate? What does that look like different, I think, from what they may have experienced in their particular jurisdictions?
Thank you. That's a great question. So in Plummer Youth Promise and the intensive foster care program, my role is a youth permanency worker. And in the IFC program, we visit on a weekly basis. So I'm in Glenys's and Angel's home weekly. The goal is to be there at on the same time, same day. And first, primarily, is to go see the children, see if all their needs are being met, speak to the foster parents, see if there are any concerns or highlights or progress that's going on. I also kind of call myself like an investigator. Like I try to like dive into the family, see what natural supports they do have, connect with the birth parents. And what that's called, what I do within the first 14 days, it's what's called a safety parameters meeting. So it doesn't matter whoever is on that team, as many people as I know of, I want to bring in and have a meeting with the department, have a meeting with the providers, and see like how can I better use my role in being that bridge in communication? How can I help? What can I do? And so they give me, you know, I'll meet with Erika on a weekly basis on top of meeting the kids weekly and see where she's at and see how she's doing and see how I can help. But before I can do that, I really build a relationship with the foster parents, with the child, with the birth mother, with the parents. And so it all stems from building rapport, gaining that trust, because my role can be very confusing sometimes. I'm not the department. I'm not a foster parent. I'm the youth permanency worker. And my focus is, you know, first and foremost, bringing these kids home.
Thank you. And I'll turn the program over to Prudence and Chauncey.
Thank you so much, Beverly. And I think, Kate, we have that final slide that we can throw up, which will answer one of the questions about Chauncey's email contact information. But I think actually ending on the note that Jocelyn just had about that her role is to support reunification, and having that be the touchstone is such a key component. And then the final thank you that I wanted to say is obviously to Glenys and Angel, but Erika, to you for that you made a comment about how hard it was to not be with your boys and hug them and hold them. And so to your son who joined us today and showed us in real time his beautiful smile on the screen and is there with you. Thank you for all of that and for everything that you've done as well to be a part of today. In closing, those are the emails that you all need to have in terms of follow-up with Chauncey directly and Beverly, who are leading a lot of the work around celebrating Reunification Month in June. And as a quick reminder, we will be sending out the materials from this webinar along with the nominations form for the Reunification Heroes. Congratulations to Dina, who was on this call today, and to the other heroes who joined us today. We can't wait to celebrate a new group of you and to continue to honor and celebrate those who have been raised up in the past. So thank you, everyone, and thank you to Claire as well, who's done a lot of help behind the scenes today.
If you do one more click, it'll talk about the next webinar coming up.
Thank you,
And
Chauncey.
so,
And yes, perfect.
Yes. We do have another webinar coming up on June 7th.
The final note is that we really are launching in June. So this is our pre-launch to get everyone ready and excited for Reunification Month. But we will have another webinar raising up examples of ways that everyone can partner and, to Jocelyn's words, have reunification be the touchstone of the work that that is done in the field. And so thank you, Chauncey, for the reminder that we have the webinar coming up in June, and we'll send out some follow-ups. Wonderful to see you all today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.